would like to start by inviting Mr. Rashed to present his keynote speech. Mr. Rashed, please.
Hi everybody. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rashed Kamal. I'm the Managing Director and CEO of Databiz Software Lmt. and Chairman of Standing Committee BASIS Research and Market Development. Today, actually, let me give you a brief detail. Brief about the seminar and why we arranged this seminar from BASIS. This is actually a very time-worthy and critical issues. What is going on nowadays about market research and ICT market research, specifically ICT market research, I would say. What when we say about the market, actually ICT market, we have plenty of research. We had a couple of research, in fact, before, and we got some data and some figures. But in some aspects, not all the figures were, I would not say that that's not right, maybe partially correct, and sometimes that leaves us some, consistency gap, or sometimes this type of figures may lead the whole industry wrong impression. Actually, now ICT industry is now becoming the biggest industry, or at least growing industry from Bangladesh government. And Bangladesh government most thriving sector is ICT now. We are having a slogan of Digital Bangladesh, and we are 100% supporting this slogan. And Bangladesh One, this is another slogan. So from BASIS, actually, we have taken different initiative to make a complete market research. And this is what about the current board, under the leadership of our current president, Mr. Mustafa Jabbar. Actually, when this board came into the show, actually what they tried, in fact, they designed a committee, a standing committee of market research. It's the first time ever in the history of BASIS. And the basic, basic scope of this committee is to formulate a standard research, which actually can be published, or can be BASIS can own it, or industry can own it. Actually, without having some proper data or proper figures, sometimes as it is a strategic matter, sometimes it's difficult for the investors also, as you don't have the market size properly, and if you don't have the data of the export growth, or the local market growth, actually it's sometimes really difficult. So that's the initiative, I think, from the BASIS board, and that's why today's research actually is today's seminar is taking place. So I'll go to the detail. Before going to the detail, the topic is ICT market research and evolutionary approach. Actually, this research we are talking about today, actually we have started this game, and we are talking, we are thinking, or we are sharing with you. It's like, we believe that this is a little bit evolutionary, and definitely we'll welcome your comment and welcome your suggestion on this. Before going to the research methodology or research, I would first like to describe some sector of ICT sector overview. ICT as an industry, if you see the figures, actually it's a $600 million plus industry with around $250 million export. So this is what about ICT industry, and currently what we say normally, and around 1,500 plus different sizes of enterprises, software and ITES companies are running the industry, and as I said, $600 plus million total value of the industry, and around 250,000 plus resources actually are into this industry. These resources are normally skilled, or we can at best call up to semi-skilled. There is no such places of unskilled labor or unskilled worker in the ICT industry. So revenue structure, if we define, actually 56% is basically the software revenue, and the 44% is coming from the ITES revenue. And this is about more or less the picture of the country, but which is a little bit other way around internationally. If you see the global distribution of ICT outsourcing, around 32% is basically from the IT services, and the 68% is from the ITES sector. So which is other way around, it is reverse. In Bangladesh, the revenue comes from mainly from the software sector, and the secondary from ITES, and then worldwide Globally, it is reverse. Now, if we see the industry at a glance, we can categorize the industry if you see here, I mean, in some sectors, I mean, these sectors are not fully strict or rigid, but we can categorize like this. It's first of all, it's a software, I mean, IT services. We divided it into two groups. One is the application service, other one is the engineering service. In application service, basically the system integration, IT infrastructure and outsourcing, consulting. And in the engineering service, which we call the software development, it's basically hardware and software development and testing. And in ITES category, this is the second category, we have divided it into four groups. One is the horizontal process outsourcing, which is very common. I mean, the horizontal means the call center, like business process outsourcing, this type of thing. The second one is the vertical process outsourcing, which is the specific industry-specific business process outsourcing, which we call the pharmaceuticals, telecom, maybe manufacturing or banking sort of thing. For example, the banking information, I mean, client information entry. This type of forms or this type of data can be outsourced for entry to the countries like us, which we call it as a vertical process outsourcing. Number three is the knowledge process outsourcing, which is nowadays the most important sector. The knowledge process outsourcing, we normally consists of research, animation, and data analytics. And number four is the automation service. We call it business process as a service, BPaaS, which is another newer concept. So worldwide, you can have this service from the outsourcing provider companies anywhere from the world. So these four categories. So in nutshell, actually in IT, there are two parts, application service, engineering service, and in ITES, there are four parts. This is basically the industry at a glance. Now, if we see the total picture, so our export figure, actually, by 2018, our target is to achieve USD 1 billion, and which will be 1% of the total GDP growth, I mean, total GDP by 2018. And now, we are into 600 million. And our export, I mean software export or ITES service export size is 250 million. So if we see the progress, I mean if we can analyze the thing, so how can we attain this 1 billion into these 2 years or one and a half years in this time? This is a little bit challenging. But if you see the graph, here the information will come, you see. Now it is 491 and we have to go to the 1,000 million, that is 1 billion growth. But the picture is little bit confusing in this step. So actually what are these figures? If we see this slide, we have shown three comparisons. You see in 2013 and 14, the figure was, as per EPP, it is 124.7 million. This is the export figure. We are just comparing with the export figure, then you will understand the whole situation. And at the same year, EGN, another consulting who did the research, they said 95 million. And with the same year, that is 2013 and 14, Tholon said the figure is 250 million. You see there is a huge difference in the same year of the export figures. And in 2014-15, actually EPP said 132 million, which is relevant with their earlier figure, which was 124.7. So there's a sustainable, I mean, it is a regular growth. But in 2015, you see that EPP is saying it is 250 million, whereas EPP is saying it is 151.83 million, whereas the other sources, BCC and BASIS actually, they are saying 250 million export market size. And interestingly, the industry expert is saying that 700 million export, and which is also true. So this is a little bit confusing. So which figures we would rely and why these differences are coming? This is the main issue. So we have found out from this board, actually we have found out that what are the real reasons for these different type of figures and what to do to get a complete research about the industry. So we have taken the steps, as I said, under this BASIS board, and definitely we have found out 10 reasons why these figures are this type of little bit confusing, and come up with a real, I mean, how to come up with the real figures. If you see, now expert opinion is 700 million export growth, which is around 250 million as per other statistics. And so if the 700 million is the export figure now, already we can derive that we have already attained 1 billion existingly. in this year already. So there are a little bit confusion in the figures. Now I'm coming to the real reason why these figures are a little bit confusing and why these different figures are coming and what to do to avoid these figures. These are the 10 reasons. Number one is unregistered companies. When the researchers basically using the different methodology, definitely, there are a lot of unregistered companies who are doing local and international business, but their revenues are not properly being tracked. This is one of the major reasons why these researchers are there different. Number two is transaction. So EPB, Bangladesh Bank, they are taking the transaction only from the Bangladesh Bank. Okay, and the Bangladesh Bank monitors transaction only the fund which are coming through the proper channel. But not majority of the company or a big number of the companies, basically they are taking funds through other channels. Let's say about MasterCard, let's say about Paysa, let's say about PayPal. These type of figures cannot be tracked by the Bangladesh Bank. So there is a lot of discrepancies in the export figures. Number three is a captive center earnings. We know that there are a number of companies, big companies, those who have origin in other countries like USA, UK, maybe Singapore or Malaysia, and they have their centers here in Bangladesh, those who are doing the work from here. But these type of centers' revenue are not being properly reflected in our total export growth. Next is VoIP earning exclusion. You know, as VoIP has been declared illegal by the Bangladesh government, so VoIP income is not being treated as in our total market figure. And it's a statistics of BTRC that Bangladesh government actually losing $120 billion revenue from VoIP earning every year. So this is not being reflected. Number three is unaccounted freelancer earnings. So we all know that Bangladesh is now one of the top line country in freelancing, and we have got around 50,000 freelancer. And if we just multiply, like every month's earning of freelancer, each freelancer is $1,000. So this figure will come around $600 million, which is a big figure, which is not being counted or majority is not being counted in the main research figure. Next is the exclusion of revenues. This is another important point. So whenever we are classifying the company, let's say a company have a hardware wing and they have a software wing. So when we classify this company, we normally take it to the hardware in the list of the hardware company. So in the hardware company, we do not calculate the export figure of that company. So this is the problem of classification. So this is another reason, exclusion of revenues. That revenue is not being counted. Number 7 is lack of historic data. As we do not do any continuous research, or we do not have any continuity, like every year different type of methodologies and different companies are doing the research, so there is no such historic data. Let's say, for example, for my company Databiz, if I declare the revenue, let's say in last year my revenue was 700 USD, and this year I declared that my revenue is 2700 USD, which is different. Okay, so there is no historic data, so that we can understand or we can have any comparison between, we can validate the data which is correct or not. Number 8 is single point data collection. In our research methodology, normally data are collected from the single point. For example, one company, we know the CEO, normally the CEOs provide the figure. But in standard, if we define that yes, at least from the more than one, at least 2 points, we'll collect data at least from 2 points, which is maybe CEO and CFO of the company, and nobody will know, anonymously, that is, nobody will know what figures have been told by the CFO, or CFO will not, the vice versa. So that may be another good tool or instrument for getting the real data. And last, number 9 is confidentiality issue. This is, although we stated in number 9, but this is, I believe, the most important issue, because we normally reluctant to express our real export figure due to tax issues, due to some other issues. Very well, Bangladesh government, we have some bureaucracy, we face some bureaucracy at the taxing file or something. Although it is declared that yes, we are in the tax bracket, but these are allowing of expenses and sometimes of speed money issues. These are very common. So people usually do not want to disclose their actual export figure. This is another reason. And lastly, maintaining a foreign account. Normally, this type of IT and ITES company, as the product is virtual, so as they do not declare anything to the government physically, so they can maintain some figure, they can maintain one account or another number of accounts outside of Bangladesh. There are a lot of companies who are doing this thing. Say, for example, I am maintaining an account in Singapore. So that account transaction and earning in that account is not that easy to be reflected in our total export or total export figure. So which is a common practice. Why we do so? Because we do it because of the criticalness of outward remittance. For example, I earn, let's say, $1,000, and I have an expense of $800 against that revenue. $1,000 earning is okay, but when I need to remit this $800 from my account, it will not be possible from up to, it's very difficult in Bangladesh current situation to figure, to send any figure in as outward remittance. So this is another challenge. Why? Normally, people use secondary accounts or international, accounts in other countries. So these 10 issues. So these are the basic reasons we have summarized. Now my industry colleague and the industry expert, Mr. Bijan, will tell you what methodology we have decided to go for this research this time. And lastly, Mr. Shire will give you the overview of the total way forward and what to do in the next step. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much.